Okay. Now, you clicked on this video. You see that I'm not actually crazy. Let's get that point first. Secondly, you clicked on this video because it had the word faith in it. And you may be dealing with this situation. Anybody that's watching this video, there's a chance that at least one person that clicked this video is going through a situation in their life that they're having a hard time choosing faith. And today I'm here to help you make the right decision when it comes to faith over fear, so that your life may change. Because taking that first step, answering the call that God gives us, usually results in a breakthrough, transformation, and a bunch of good stuff. Now let's get started. All right. So first and foremost, I think I already said that. So second most, you have to understand what faith is. That faith is just trust in God. Simply, you're just trusting in God's plan. If God says to do this, you're trusting that voice. You're trusting that your belief system that you built towards God is true. And whether you trust in God, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, dude down the street in a Honda Accord, you put your trust into something that you can't see, right? It's a process that happens. So faith is you doing your part, right? You asking God and telling God, please, Lord, this is what I would like to happen. Let this happen according to your will. And then there's a process, right, in which God works. You got to keep that process open. It's a space. Think of it as a cubby hole. When you was in school, elementary school, primary school, you had your own cubby, right? This kid had theirs, that kid had theirs, you had yours, right? There's 3 kids. There's 3 cubbies. There's 3 cubbies, okay? The first kid puts their book bag in. You keep yours empty. And the third kid put theirs in their cubby, right? And you keep yours empty for a reason, so that God will work in that cubby. Because see, if you fill every cubby, where can God work? Because he's not going to compete with us. He's not going to say, oh, he's doing it. Oh, he's working. He's doing everything. Let me do everything with him. No, in a sense, I know I phrased that terribly, but I'm about to break it down. You must do your part, leave the rest to God, and then look at the outcome. We were meant for God to call us to do something. So start that business. You start the business. Oh, but God don't have this. That's where you leave that space open. You do your primary objective first, and then God will supply the rest. Everything else will work out. And for example, I have a testimony, a quick testimony I'm going to share. If you don't want to listen to the testimony, just pause the video, and then that ain't gonna work. No, that don't work like that. So around 2024, I believe around 2024, I was working for the city. It's the city of Mobile, Parks and Recreations. I was working there for 3 years prior, up until this point around June, July. And the job was decent. I straight out of high school, I worked a couple of the jobs, and then I got into the city of Mobile. But up until this point, I felt in my body, in my soul, that I wanted to do more. Not more as in have more responsibility and work like 100 jobs, but more as in a bigger way to serve people, right? At that job, I was serving people. I was cleaning restrooms. We was cleaning parks. We was redoing the mulching and playgrounds, picking up trash and cutting. We're doing all that stuff, which is very it's very important for a kid like me that was growing up straight out of high school, was building that structure, building that platform for me inside, that I'm able to have this mindset of serving other people no matter what the job is. Like thinking about Mary, and when she cleaned Jesus' feet. Even when Jesus cleaned the feet of his disciples, he is the highest in heaven. He's with God. He is God. came down from his throne to be on earth with us to show us the way, and he's washing our feet, the sinners, the dirty, you know,
Who?
us. And so I remember this one night where I talked to God. I'm like, God, let your will be done in my life. I want to do more. I want to serve more. I want to be a part more. Let your will be done. So I went to sleep. I wake up, get ready for work like usual. I'm heading to work, driving, nothing. I'm listening to music, just chilling. Thinking it's a regular day. And as soon as I get to my job, not when I'm driving in, not when I'm trying to reverse in park, but when I finally put the thing in park, God speaks to me and says, go put your 2 weeks in. Go put your 2 weeks in. And I hear that, right? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. There's only crickets and little birds chirping. I cut my car off. I have to sit in my car. I have to get there early to sit in my car to chill, to kind of center myself before I start working. And I hear it. Immediately after I heard that, this wave of anxiety and fear just hits me. It just crashes into me. Because now I'm thinking about the perspective of my coworkers, right? They're like, dang, he leaving. And I'm, you know, I read the stories and I heard in YouTube videos that would, you know, you try to put your 2 weeks in and you start to sabotage you. And I was thinking, like, they're gonna do that and all that stuff. But they didn't do it. They made it extremely easy, and they encouraged me because I was the youngest, pretty much the youngest there, to, you know, spread my wings and fly. And so, but the thing is, I didn't do it that first time he told me. Keep in mind, right? He told me on like a Monday. I'm just saying Monday. He told me on a Monday. I didn't do it until like Wednesday or Thursday, right? He told me every morning. I'm talking about as soon as I get there in park, he said it again. As soon as I get there in park, said it again, right? And the third day, it was on my mind already. Like it's on my mind heavy. Like I'm ignoring God's voice, and you know that feeling, right? That you know you're supposed to do something and you ain't do it, so you feel that guilt inside. And so I end up finally putting my 2 weeks notice in on that Wednesday or Thursday, and the process was extremely easy. They didn't want to see me go, but you know, I'm a young kid, so I got more in store for me. Around the end of 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks notice. So at the end of the 2 weeks, I had to go down to the main office to do an exit interview. Pretty much a survey of the job, how I liked it, what would I improve, how was my experience in that section that I was working in, and stuff like that. And then the guy says, what you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe go to school. And then he was like, well, I know the dean of this community college that's in town, and I could talk to him. He actually called him while I was sitting there. And like, hey, I got this kid here that just put his 2 weeks notice in, and he's looking to do something else for himself. And so I was wondering, like, and put you two together and yada yada yada. He said, oh, come down Monday. So it was a Friday. At the end of the 2 weeks was a Friday. He said, come down Monday and talk this and that. So I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of like, wow, boom, boom, put in place. But as soon as I get back to the truck, right, it wasn't the end of the day for me yet. I had to go through the entire shift. I get this feeling in my body that I can't say. I probably have had this feeling before, but probably when I was a kid, so I don't remember. But it was this feeling where complete darkness, like if you can feel darkness, that's exactly what it felt like inside me. Like not evil, but like God's presence wasn't there. Like if you can imagine God's presence not there, everything pretty much shuts off. The light shuts off inside of you. And that's exactly what it felt like. It didn't feel like no fear, no anxiety. I didn't feel no guilt. It was like, So I knew that me going that route was not the route that God wanted for me. I knew that. I knew that God, to the world, right? God and his ways is going to look crazy to people that don't understand, that don't know the truth. It's going to look crazy. That's why I had that thumbnail of guy in a straitjacket, right? You look crazy to the world when you have faith. You look crazy. You look like a maniac when you're to the world. Because it's like, okay, why you ain't doing this? Why you ain't doing this? Why you ain't doing this? Because God's will supersedes all of it. And then at the end, you're jumping higher than what you would have done with your own plan, how you wanted to do things, right? Because typically at the end, when you have your purpose, you know your purpose, and you're in it and doing this, you're serving people. You're serving a lot of people the best way you can with the gift God gave you. So that's my testimony. And so a few months passed. I'll make this short, guys, I promise. Now, I'll say a couple months after that, God allowed me to pick up a business in detailing, auto detailing, pressure washing. And so I was doing that. That was just for a season, but being able to do that and have God's grace in it and God building me, refining me through the fire in that process was such a grateful experience, right? Of course, I had my ups and downs in it, but in general, oh my goodness, I would like being able to be in the midst of God, being a will, being alignment of God is flex. I'm not gonna flex, but it's a flex. Like, I'm really here doing this. Like, I'm God's soldier right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm front line with it. You know what I'm saying? If I had not taken that step of faith, that leap of faith, and just quitting my job with nothing else lined up on the end of it, I would not be in a position now with my faith. I would not be with my belief, encouraging my family, encouraging my friends, being that light bearer, being that first goer, first comer, so that I trailblazer, like being able to lead, to have that way. Trying to hold on. Being able to relight that path that Jesus created so that my family can get back on track with Jesus is such a grateful experience. Like, of course I want to financially provide for my family, and that's a big milestone, but like, this is for their eternity. Like, I'm literally like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? The whole purpose of me telling that testimony is to say, when God tells you to do something, faith in itself is not just for ourselves. So we have to break out of that mind of selfishness or just conceitedness. Conceitedness, is that a word? Being conceited, so that we're able to help others around us. Because you never know what places that small step of faith can take you. You never know the impact you have on other people with that small step of faith that God wants you to take. You never know. And it's not just about you. Once you break out of that, it makes it a little easier to be obedient to God, because you know now this isn't just for me, bro. Like, I'm gonna make a lot of money, but it's not for me, right? It's flowing through me, right? I'm just a maintainer for it right now until God says, bless them, put it here, do this with it, and then I do that. But when you're in the world, they just want you to be selfish. Oh, I want to think about yourself. Oh, do this and that. No, it's complete flip on the back once you come to God, once you come to Jesus, right? It's like, of course, you don't just be overly generous, but if somebody asks you for something, you give it to them. If you got it, you give it to them, because for one, it's not yours to own, right? It can be taken away from you at any moment. But we were put on this earth to help each other. We weren't put on this earth to be in individual slots, right? We weren't put on this earth to help ourselves only. No, we weren't meant to do that. We was meant to be on this earth to coexist. But the things in place that try to tear us apart, that place dividers so that we never come together. And as Christians, we break that mold, because Jesus died for all. He died for all sins. He made it a way. He made a way so that Gentiles and Jews can be saved, right? Not just Jews. for Gentiles and Jews. The whole New Testament, or the parables of Jesus around Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it's about Jesus bringing Gentile Jew together. It's not to cause division, but it's to break that divider so we can be here. So the next time you think about faith, the next time you're presented with the opportunity to be faithful, keep in mind that God wants you to work with him. Faith is just working with God. It's aligning with God. It's trusting God primarily. It's to say yes and put your yes on that table. Doing your part and allowing God to do the rest. You don't worry about it. You do your part, and then God will do the rest. Right? God doesn't want you to be super duper tired. I say super duper. God doesn't want you to be tired, drained after working your job. So he's placing these things along your path so that you're able to have more free time with your family to do the things that you've always wanted to do while making very good, consistent income, right? It's to help others as well while having these other things benefit you. So when it's called to take that step, it's a new life on the other side of it. And fear wants you to stay put. Think about it. If you stay put, you're going to live with regret for the rest of your life. You're going to be 60, 70, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old thinking about that one moment. You could have done so many other things in those 30, 40 years, but you think about that one moment. So take that opportunity and don't waste it. Because God has plans to prosper us and not to harm us.